Hi, I'm Michelle from Michelle P Astrology. Today I'm going to be discussing the upcoming Mercury Cazimi in the sign of Gemini on June 14th, Friday. There were a few things that stood out to me as why I chose this it's a pretty significant transit coming up for the month of June. It was actually three things that I saw that really stood out to me. First off, we'll let you know about the Cazimi. The Cazimi itself is when a planet goes into the heart of the sun. It's almost where it's a rebirthing moment, a new moon, if you will. You're planting the new seed to start a new year or a new cycle of the planet as it travels through the houses in the zodiac. Usually when a planet, as it applies to the Cazimi, it goes through a debilitating situation known as combustion. A combustion is where a planet gets burnt out by the sun. It can weaken the planet. It's like a death and rebirthing. But when a planet is in its own sign, as Mercury is, being the domicile ruler or the house ruler of Gemini, it's known to be in its chariot. The chariot protects this type of situation of combustion, which will leave Mercury untouched as it enters into this beautiful aspect of Cazimi, which is probably one of the most beneficial aspects that we could ask for. What this is going to affect is mostly your Mercury placements in your chart. So with Mercury, it's our communication. Mercury indicates the kind of communication you'll have with other people throughout the year. This supports shifts of mental focus towards each sign or each house that it is transiting through. So I will take you through each sign to let you know what house it'll be in as we look at your rising signs and what subjects it will be affecting, so you can have an idea of where your mental focus will be more honed into as the year progresses. So let's start. We start with Aries, and when you come to Aries, you'll see down here in the third house, you have the Mercury, the Cazimi here. There's Venus, and we have Jupiter. The third house is basically the communication house. So in this instance, you have you might find out some new skills in creative writing. Mercury is a big collector of ideas. Perhaps so many though that it can leave you mentally scattered. Especially with Jupiter there, because it's an abundant planet. It's our hopes as well as our dreams. It's not just like everything's just going to be so big, but it's like what we can think of to better our future. So that can get really out of touch. So when we move into, we'll move forward to Taurus, which will bring it into the second house. In the second house, the new ideas are going to come in to benefit our income. We're going to maybe think of new ways to find resources to help our wealth or, possessions. And sometimes with Jupiter there, you can almost be too generous, maybe overspend a little too much, overeat a little too much. But this is more mercurial because it is in Gemini, so I'm feeling that it'll be more, you may want to give more than you receive. You want to share a lot more of what your knowledge is than maybe listening in the same sense. In the third house, in Gemini, will become in the first house. In the first house, we have any points of view that you want to express. Now's a good time. Having a purpose for those thoughts is important. Personal windows of opportunity can come up at rapid rates. You want to watch for scattered energy here, because this is the first house, which is basically your house of your body, and it can affect you emotionally, maybe bring up a little bit more like anxious feelings, because it is Mercury, and Mercury can get very buzzy and very fast. When this hits in Gemini, when the Cancer risings, we have Gemini in the 12th house, which is behind the scenes studies, connecting with the moon in Virgo, which is here, which is also in another mercurial sign. It's a good time to make your first podcast, if you will. Perhaps to become a co-host or mentor to a mentor with a teacher that you really respect. When we put Leo on the rising, we brings us to Gemini in the 11th house, which is our friends, our allies, our support systems from our allies, the ones that will help you accomplish your goals, your hopes, your dreams. The 11th house is the joy of Jupiter. So it is like your big dreams of your betterment for your future, for the big plans, for the big picture in your life. Having, putting Virgo on which is another mercurial sign. This can also bring into your body because it's ruled by Mercury as well. You may, and it's the moon is there, you may get that anxious feeling in the same sense as the moon as the Mercury in the 12th house, connecting with the third. But this is up in your 10th house of your career. You might have multiple decisions that are brought to you at this time when it comes to your career. It's maybe sometimes too many options that you can't really weigh out the decisions with a clear head because there's just so much going on. You might be taking on more things, juggling too much at one time can be one of the downfalls of this this placement here. To not maybe make any decisions at the time, weigh out the pros and cons, do some test studies, test things out, experiment with your ideas of what you plan on doing. If it becomes too much, reel it in, because it'll just become overwhelming to you. Libra on the rising, we have Mercury and the Cazimi in the 9th house, which is publishing your knowledge, opportunities to broaden your horizons. This is, maybe you'll feel like traveling to exotic places internationally. It's also that you're becoming more open-minded to new sides of philosophies on how you view the world. You'll be like weighing out what used to be one way that you used to look at things to now you've something has come into your sights and you're second guessing that. Putting when Scorpio is on the rising, brings the Cazimi into the 8th house. And the 8th house is basically pretty simple. Your shared resources. Maybe possible uptick in your partner's income or resources that will help build more wealth for the both of you. Also, this could be maybe you're hearing some good news about your taxes. This is taxes, and it's basically we just finished tax season, so hopefully that'll be more beneficial situations than not. Sagittarius on the rising, now this comes into your 7th house of partnerships, and this could be where your relationship therapy, this is a good time to, if any sort of conversations that you have to have that maybe you've been mulling over that have been a little bit more challenging, this will be a good time to work on them. The conversations within a social circle. You might be meeting more people. You may come into more friend groups that just seem to click, and you may find your tribe, and that's definitely a good thing. Always. We have Capricorn on the rising. We puts this in the 6th house. In the 6th house, we don't have much control over. It is the joy of Mars, and you might find your voice to express things that have been difficult for you to bring up. A discontentment, and it may come up in a martial way, which is a little bit more assertive. I don't want to say so much aggressive with the benefics there, but it's definitely going to be constructive, and you might adopt a pet. 6th house does rule pets, our house pets, or in a martial way, maybe you're going to send them off to training, so to learn some things. So it'll be a good house pet. Aquarius on the rise, we have the 5th, it puts it in the 5th house, and the 5th house is the joy of Venus. The 5th house with lots of movement. Gemini is a youthful sign. It likes to get out there and maybe do more activity. This following in the house of the joy of Venus, it might be more music concerts or maybe art galleries. Not so much, sports as in, you're gonna go pick up a new game of pickleball. However, it does fall in the house of children. So it is summertime, and the kids, their activities are very. There are a lot, so this may become extremely busy. So this is another one to be careful of overdoing or overscheduling, where you become more frazzled, or just the life just gets so fast, and everyone's always talking about how by the time you blink, the summer's over. So that's another one to just just to keep an eye on. We have Pisces. Finally, and this puts it into the fourth house. The fourth house is, new ideas can be as simple as redecorating. May start binge watching HGTV to get some, thoughts of if you just decide you're looking or to sell your house. You might want to be updating it or getting it ready to sell. It's not the time really that you probably will put it on the market, but you'll definitely be prepping or doing due diligence. If you are wanting to move to a new area, you may start looking at new homes or such in that sense. That's it. So I hope this helps. I hope that this was clear and you enjoyed it. And I hope I'll see you soon with more videos to come.